From a young man's bizarre McDonald's assault.
Do you remember what you were mad about?
I screamed some absurdity to him, and then he screamed back at me. But when he screamed back at me, it was like his face changed. It was like it looked like a demon. It seemed like a demon. His voice was very.
To another repeat offender with a long history of domestic violence.
Well, one option is for me to just give you 93 days right now. You got a terrible long history of domestic assault, and we just took a factual basis where you slapped your girlfriend across the face.
These cases show just how Judge Middleton handles different criminal offenses. Starting with Mr. Steele, a young man who jumped out of a McDonald's drive-thru window to assault innocent customers, all while claiming he saw demons. It's crazy how this man tried to give excuses for his reckless and violent behavior.
All right. Are you Michael Steele?
Yes, sir.
I'm Judge Middleton. I'm here at the courthouse. Also here with me is your lawyer, Mr. Luke Knopfsinger. You can see him on the screen. Also, Chief Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Joshua Robert. Mr. Steele, this is an odd case. You're charged with larceny in a building, which is a felony punishable by up to 4 years imprisonment. You're charged with 3 counts of assault and battery. Actually, 5 counts of assault and battery and malicious destruction of a building. This is all some irrational conduct that occurred on December 21st. Your lawyer tells me that the prosecutor is willing to dismiss the felony charges. And Mr. Robert, could you put the plea agreement on the record here?
Sure. The plea agreement would be for him to plead to 2 counts of assault and battery, agree to pay any restitution, and we'd have no objection to him being placed on a high deprivation.
Let me break that down. Somehow I got the idea of aggravated assault. They're going to request that you enter a plea to 2 counts of assault and battery. Assault and battery is a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to 93 days in jail and a fine of up to $500. I believe you've been in jail since December 21st, which is 10 days in December and 7 days in January. Now, Mr. Knopfsinger, you confirm the plea agreement?
Yes, Judge.
All right. Now, HIDA stands for Homes Youthful Trainee Act, which is a certain type of probation that can be used by judges to put young people on probation. And if they successfully complete the probation, the charge is taken off of your record. I'm not 100% sure I could do it on an assault case. I believe I can, but we'll look into that further. Are you going to plead to 2 counts of assault and battery? Mr. Steele?
Sorry, sir. Please restate that one more time. Please give that to me one more time.
Are you going to plead guilty to 2 counts of assault and battery?
Yes.
The other charges would be dismissed. Let me ask you a couple of questions. Did anybody threaten you to get you to plead to those 2 misdemeanor charges?
No, nobody threatened me. Nobody threatened.
All right. Anybody promise you anything to get you to plead to those charges? Anybody promise you anything?
You did, Judge? You said?
Well, other than the fact that the felonies will be dismissed, did anybody promise you anything to get you to plead to these 2 misdemeanors?
No, sir. No.
All right. I end up looking at the screen. I can see on the screen, but I'm looking away from you. If I look at the camera, I'm looking at you. You can see my.
I'm sorry, man.
All right. Now, let me tell you a couple other things. If you plead guilty to these 2 charges, you're going to be giving up your right to have a trial in front of a judge or a jury. There will not be a trial. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. If I give up my right to not have a trial, I'm not going to have a trial.
All right. Very good. If you had a trial, you'd have the right to be represented by an attorney. Mr. Knopfinger has been appointed to represent you, and he's here ready to proceed. You could also hire an attorney of your own choosing if you wished. If you had a trial, you'd have the right to have any of the witnesses for or against you subpoenaed to come to court so they could be questioned under oath. You would have the right to take the witness stand yourself and testify, because you have a right not to testify, and if you did not wish to testify, the judge or jury could not hold your silence against you, and you have the right to be presumed innocent unless the state was able to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You understand?
Yes, sir. Could I have my attorney speak for me?
Yeah, he's right here.
Hey, Judge, I did meet with Michael and he signed a waiver of rights.
All right, very good. And I've got it right here. All right. So I need to ask you some questions. This is a very strange police affidavit. You were an employee of the McDonald's in White Pigeon, is that correct?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
And you showed up for work on December 21st, but you weren't scheduled to work that day. Is that true?
Yes, that is true. That is true. I was scheduled to work the next day.
All right. So you showed up on the 21st. You seem very disoriented. And at some point, you must have got into it with a customer. I'm not sure if this is right. It said you went out the window at the drive-thru. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. And yes.
Well, that's
yes,
quite a feat. I don't think I could accomplish that going in or out. But so you jumped out of the drive-thru window and got into it with some customers. Did you end up striking these people?
I did, sir. I did, sir. Gloria and Larry Waltke, I believe it is.
Yes.
I did, yes, sir.
All right. Well, did you know those people?
No, sir.
Do you remember what you were mad about?
I screamed some absurdity to him, and then he screamed back at me. But when he screamed back at me, it was like his face changed. Like it was like I don't know if it looked like a demon. It seemed like a demon. His voice was very I don't know how to explain it, but it just his facial expressions, the way he voiced at me, it was different. I do remember it. That.
All right. So did you knock him down and then knock his wife Gloria down?
Yes, sir.
And then you got in your car and took off.
Yes, sir.
All right. This seems like some sort of either a mental health episode.
It's drugs, Judge. I think there's
Or,
concerns about drugs, yeah.
Or a drug episode. And so which drug are we dealing with?
It's concerned about Robitussin, overdosing on Robitussin.
All right. We're going to have to follow up on that. All right. I'm going to set this for sentence. I'd like victim input.
Judge, I was hopeful to address bond.
We're going to take that up in a minute. Luke, I just set you for Wednesday, February
Yes.
5th. How about if we put this at the same time?
That's a good thought, yeah.
I try not to drag the lawyers around the map. Are you his mother? Thank you for being here. Yeah, this is a bizarre set of facts. And it was apparent just in reading the affidavit that you were somehow disoriented. I didn't know if it was drugs or mental health issues or some sort of a seizure. You've been in jail now for 17 days. The bond was set at $6,500. Your lawyer would like me to address the issue of your bond. Now, by law, on a misdemeanor case, I have to give you a PR bond after 28 days. Well, you've been convicted, so I wouldn't have to. Unless you're convicted, I have to give you a bond within 28 days. Mr. Knopfinger, what would you like me to know about bond?
Yeah, Judge, I would ask the court to grant a PR bond. I've had several conversations with Mike's mother. She's supportive of him. She found some of these empty bottles in his room. She's concerned. This was his 18th birthday. He's eligible for HIDA. I will be petitioning the court for HIDA probation. I think it's appropriate. This is the first criminal charge that he's faced. This is the first time he's been in jail, Judge. So he's been cooperative with me. We've been talking about some of the potential terms of probation for HIDA compliance with maybe substance abuse therapy, sort of going through that. My client's very remorseful. He remembers most of what happened that day, but a lot of it is kind of a blur. So for those reasons, and the fact that given his age, he turned 18 just a couple of weeks ago.
Are you in high school or have you graduated?
I have not got my diploma yet, sir. No, I'm in high school. I just haven't got my diploma yet.
So is this your senior year at Constantine?
This would be my senior year at Link Learning in Three Rivers.
All right, so you're an alternative ed?
Yes, sir.
Are you willing to come back, have him come back to your house? And you do have a driver's license?
Yes, sir. Did you ask me? Did you just ask me two questions? I'm sorry.
I asked you if you had a driver's license.
Yes, I do, sir.
All right, Mr. O'Berry, got any further input regarding the bond?
We'll just say that if he does get out on bond and engages in any further criminal activity, our office would withdraw our support for a HIDA probation.
All right, I'm gonna give you a bond of $500 PR. No contact whatsoever with Larry Walke, Gloria Walke. I'm assuming you've probably lost your job over this,
Yeah, he was trespassed.
or not allowed at the White Pigeon McDonald's. No drugs or alcohol. Including cough syrup. You have an 11 p.m. curfew to 6 a.m.
All your properties right there, once you hear the door going, put out.
You must reside with your mother. No weapons, no assaultive or threatening behavior. Sentence is set for February 5th at 11 a.m. We'll get this paperwork out to the jail. You can go out to the jail and pick him up. It may take him a little bit. You might even get lunch out of the deal, but you can pick him up here in a little bit. So I've accepted your plea to 2 counts of assault and battery. We're going to consider whether you get Holmes Youthful Trainee status. If we do, that proceeding will be non-public. But I don't want any more problems. As Mr. Knopfinger indicated, this is the first time you've been in trouble and you just spent 17 days in jail. Hopefully that was uncomfortable enough that you don't want to do that anymore. I will see you on February 5th. I'll get the whole police report and victim input.
Unlike Mr. Steele's assault case, here we have Ms. Holtz facing charges for domestic violence while she blames her husband for everything, guns, fights, and even her arrest. Let's watch this.
Good morning. Are you Robin Holtz?
Morning.
We've met before, but I need to identify you for the record.
Yes, sir.
This is file 242275, Robin Ann Holtz, charged with assault with a dangerous weapon and 2 counts of domestic violence. This is not the kind of cases I've seen you on. None of them have been assaultive in nature. But the complaint alleges that on or about December 22nd, there seems to be a lot of stress on people around Christmas time. About everything we're doing today is on or near Christmas. Oh, this ain't good. It's alleged that on or about December 22nd, you made an assault upon Reed Holtz with a .45 caliber high point pistol. It's commonly known as felonious assault, punishable by up to 4 years in prison. For reasons I don't understand, they didn't charge you with a felony firearm. They must have a reason. Then you're charged with 2 counts of domestic violence on Reed Holtz and Hallie N. Holtz. Those are misdemeanors punishable up to 93 days in jail and a fine of up to $500. Mr. O'Bear, if I understand correctly, the offer is to plead to 1 count of domestic violence.
Correct. And our office would have no objection to statutory deferral.
All right, thank you.
And it would be more specifically count 2, Your Honor,
On the daughter, Hallie?
on Reed.
Oh, count 2, all right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's the second count, but it's the first DV count. Domestic assault, as it's charged here, has to do with someone that you live with, or in this case, it's actually your husband. It's a misdemeanor punishable by up to 93 days in jail and a fine of up to $500. Do you understand the charge?
Yes, sir.
Other than the fact that the other charges will be dismissed, did anybody promise you anything
No,
or threaten you?
no.
All right, this is right before Christmas. Your house out on Prairie Corners,
Yes,
is that where this happened?
yes, sir.
All right, tell me what happened.
I woke up Sunday morning with my husband putting a gun to my face, telling me to get my shit and get the hell out of the house. And he wouldn't give me my car keys. He took my phone before I could even crawl out of bed, so I couldn't call for help. I went screaming through the house trying to get my phone from him. I'm also on the recording with him calling 911. I'm on recording with them screaming for him to give me my phone back so I can leave. He told me that he pays the phone bill, so it's his phone, not mine, even though the phones are in my name. And I did grab the gun from him and I threw it on the couch. So I guess trying
Did
to,
he get charged too?
no. They said, I was told that due to the fact that he called first, that's the reason I ended up in jail.
That wouldn't be true. If our officers are investigating a crime, they do not make a determination based on who called first.
It's called a race to the courthouse. All right, so did you get the gun away from him?
I got the gun away from him and threw it on the couch.
Well, he claims you pointed at him from outside.
No, sir.
All right, but did you and him get in a fight and like land on the couch and you took the gun away from him?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm also the landlord tenant judge. And you can't just say, hey, get up, get your shit out of here, which people often do. You're a tenant. That's your house. And you can't just throw somebody out like a pet or a piece of broken furniture.
This has
There's a
been
process.
something that's been coming.
Well, in the old case, the one where you got extradited to Texas or wherever that was,
Ohio.
that put a lot of stress and strain on your family. In fact, your contention was you took that bullet for him.
I did.
So that was several years ago. And
I
it
just
doesn't
done
look
the
like,
time in this earlier this year.
say that again?
I just done time for it earlier this year.
Oh, back in Ohio?
From January to March of this, or I'm sorry, April 1st of this year.
All right. Okay, so I'll accept your plea. I'm gonna certainly want to get more info about this. Had you been drinking?
No, sir.
Had he?
I don't know.
Well, if he had, you'd know. So you have a bond condition that you can't live at your house?
Yes, sir.
Where are you staying?
I am currently homeless right now. I'm staying with whatever friends I can at the moment.
Has
One of the
anybody,
I'm sorry, Judge. One of the concerns my client did have is she obviously has personal effects at the home and she hasn't been able to get back there to get them. I don't know if we could have either the court's assistance or the sheriff's department's assistance in getting at least medication, personal effects, and I believe she still has a vehicle there as well.
Yes.
I might also want to hear the 911 call, police report.
And I will say at the time he made the 911 call, he had the gun back in his possession and I was back in the back room when the 911 call started.
When you bring a gun to a contentious domestic violence case, nothing good happens. Many years ago, I had a case where a couple was fighting. They had an infant child, very young child, and each parent was very tired because they were working shift work and they were taking care of the kid. Somebody had a gun, left it under the cushion on the couch, and they were having an argument, and the wife was very upset that this gun was there where their child could get it. So she picked the gun up and she hit him in the square of the back with the side of the gun. And a discharge went through his heart and killed him. He walked out into the garage and died. Bad situation all the way around. We had a trial and she was convicted of careless or negligent discharge of a firearm resulting in death. And it's still sad to think about it. So I don't like guns in domestic situations.
I don't like guns, period.
So, all right, let's pick a date. I'd rather do this sooner than later. Are you employed?
I have a job interview later this afternoon at casino, and then I also have another job interview tomorrow morning at a gas station.
What would you do at the casino?
Guest relations.
Well, all right, good luck with that. When they see that fraud kind of stuff on there, it might.
I would be basically just greeting guests and showing them where they would go.
I have a similar case set at 10:30 next Wednesday. Tim, could you be available on Wednesday, January 15th
Yes, sir.
at 11? I'm filling up every half hour of every day for the month of January. We hit the ground running. I'm going to set this for sentencing January 15th at 11 o'clock, which is only 8 days from now.
You say 10:30 or 11?
11.
Okay.
I have a 10:30 with Lori Hines. Another felonious assault with a lady reduced to a misdemeanor. I'm not going to try to intervene in the meantime. It's very cumbersome. Right now you're on bond. And the bond condition says you can't have contact with him, and that's very common. Once I sentence you, you'll be on probation. And I'm going to lift the bond condition including potentially the no contact provision. People will often ask for a personal protection order. They want to use it to kick somebody out of the house. You can't do that. Right now, you have as much right to that house as he does. And I'm very concerned about having everybody back in the same house.
I'm not
But-
going back to the house.
But if I lift the bond condition, you can go in there and get anything you want out of there. So I'm sure, go ahead.
Is there a way just to request for 4 hours where he is court ordered to leave the house so I can go in and get what stuff I need?
I intend to do that, but he's not here, doesn't have notice of it. So you can send a third party over there to get your medication and that
He
sort
won't
of
do
thing. He won't do it?
No.
Then we're gonna deal with him next Wednesday. And if he doesn't do it, I'm just gonna lay in your own house. That's fraught with potential problems. You may need to go there with a police escort, but he can't say, get out of here with a gun to your head and evict you. Now, there's two sides to every story. There's more to this than what I'm hearing, but even from the police report, it tracked pretty closely with what you told me, in which case sounds like he should have been charged with felonious assault and felony firearm, but prosecutor knows more about this than I do. They've seen the whole report. They've had access to the 911 tapes. I only know the little bit I just learned this morning. So I'm going to give him a chance to tell me what he wants me to know, but that will be next Wednesday at 11 o'clock. I'm going to give you a notice right now. I thought that case was a long time ago. Did you end up going back on a probation violation or something?
No, the original charge was back in 2020, I think. But I never got charged with any of it until.
Well, you got extradited. They took you back to Ohio and you were there for months before they.
Yep. I got extradited from here January 9th, and I was down there until April 2nd, sorry.
All right.
I got told April 1st. I thought it was an April Fool's joke that I was going home. I also have video that shows where he is throwing me around my living room and being very abusive.
There's evidence that she's a victim of domestic violence. That's something that she can turn over to police officers and that can be investigated.
He'll bring it with you.
I have it right now.
All right. See you next Wednesday. Josh, do you have a victim staff yet?
No.
I'd like to get, maybe the other staff can get notice to him. All right, Ms. Foltz, I'll see you next Wednesday.
Finally, this case here centers on Mr. Banks facing charges for assaulting his girlfriend. It's outrageous how this has become a consistent pattern and he still hasn't learned from his mistakes or left the toxic relationship.
This is file number 241925FY. FY stands for felony something. The allegation is that you assaulted Pamela Heflin, someone you had a dating relationship with, on or about September 27th. And we've been down this road before because you're charged as a third habitual or a third offense, domestic violence. That's a felony punishable by up to 5 years imprisonment. You're also charged as a fourth habitual offender, potentially making this punishable by up to life imprisonment. Prosecutor has indicated they would accept a plea to domestic violence first offense and dismiss all the other charges. Is that correct, Mr. Robert?
Yes.
Mr. George, you confirm the plea offer?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Mr. Banks, you agree you're going to plead to that charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to 93 days in jail and a fine of up to $500. And you're not eligible for a deferral. You only get that deal once. Do you understand?
Yes.
First time you were charged with felony domestic violence was back in 2012. Then you were charged with domestic violence, third offense in 2014, 2020. That's the one I remember. 2022, and this one. Right now, you have a disorderly person fine. We were given a fine back in 2022 and a payment plan, and you never made any payment, so you still owe me $200 from December 6th of 2022 on some sort of assaultive thing that was reduced to disturbing the peace. All right, so the DV third and the supplemental portion are being dismissed for plea to domestic violence. As I indicated, you're not eligible for a deferral because of the priors. Were you in a dating relationship with Pamela Heflin?
Yes,
And on September 27th, did you and she get into an argument?
yes.
She says you slapped her in the face.
Your Honor, I believe they said it was gonna be no contest.
Oh, no contest. All right, so I'll do it, no contest. Yes, thank you. So we're gonna accept these facts. The affidavit sworn to by Deputy Jason Van Dyken says that you and Pamela Heflin got into an argument on September 27th, and you slapped her across the face with an open hand, leaving red marks on the side of her face. Then you left and they couldn't find you, so they issued a warrant. That warrant didn't issue until October 23rd. That's not great. Takes a month for the officer to come in and sign it. And then you got picked up.
Mr. Banks said he turned himself in, Your Honor.
All right, and that would have been on 12/22. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Okay, where are you living now?
At a hotel.
Are you working somewhere?
Yes.
Well, one option is for me to just give you 93 days right now. You got a terrible long history of domestic assault, and we just took a factual basis where you slapped your girlfriend across the face. But I want to get some input from her. Plus, the last time you got a break and had it reduced to disturbing the peace, you never paid the fine. Are you working somewhere?
Yes, Your Honor, that wasn't a domestic.
No, that was a disturbing the peace. Where are you working?
Bravo trailers.
Where?
Bravo trailers.
Do you and Miss Heflin have children together?
No.
I mean it. Some of these earlier assault cases were ugly. Going in 2012, which is 13 years ago, you were already charged as a third offense. You got charged as felony third offense a couple more times after that. I don't think any of them resulted in a felony charge. I know at least one case, the complaining witness would show up pursuant to a served subpoena. Anyway, this ain't the way to go. But I'm gonna get police report, victim input. There's a high likelihood of jail here, Mr. Banks. We'll see whether we can make it work release or weekends or something. But about a DV 8 with a slap to the face, my mind merits a jail sentence. But you didn't pay your last fine. Mr. George?
Yes, sir.
We've filled up the 27th. How are you for February 3rd?
I'm available, Judge.
Let's set this for sentence. February 3rd, 2025 at 10:30. My handwriting not very good, but I give these notices right out here. It saves the clerks. And then I know they got notice. All right, I'll see you on February 3rd. I'll get the full police report and get input from Ms. Heflin. All right, Mr. Banks, you're good to go.